about his life. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. That's what to me is most upsetting is that America used to be objective. Now it's all subjective. Because in the 80s, it was like the peak of material and aesthetic, you know, prime. It was the best. And so people overdid it in the 80s with drugs, cocaine, etc., and they destroyed their lives. Like Richard Pryor, you know, who set himself on fire. But that's why I say the Sam Kinison documentary is very funny. Richard Pryor is also self-deprecating, but this is the connection between mysticism and comedy. Comedians are mystics in a way, actors, hypnotizers, because when you go on stage for 5 minutes to an hour, you have to essentially hypnotize the audience and make them laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and then deeply relax, 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 relax. That's what you're doing. So, I would now like to submit further evidence. This is why Clown House ultimately becomes a courtroom. And if people don't want to waste each other's time, they essentially run it like a court or a mock trial or a Toastmasters. Therefore, no one feels cheated that their time was wasted because it was all conducted in a business-like way.
60-40, 40-60. Every Mexican, 50-50, every Mexican.
No, let me see this. Hold up. I'll come back to the screen.
They set the DNA standards after the raping.
No, it's literally common sense.
He truly believes this. He truly believes this bullshit.
If a black person mates with a white person, they're gonna have a mix about.
Bro, look how white you are. Look how white this is saying you are.
That's literally what makes me Mexican.
You're white as fuck, bro.
I'm 25%.
You saying you're Caucasian? You're Caucasian. You're not of the old fucking people that came to inhabit that Mexican land.
Yeah, the one with
you don't come from that.
I don't come from what?
You don't come from that. You don't have that warrior gene. They've been raped out of your people. You're white. You're just a white guy. You're a Caucasian, dude. Like, what the fuck?
I'm only 25-30% white.
You're Caucasian, bro. You're Caucasian.
They.
Okay, if I'm 30% white, and which is from Spain, and my other 30% is from Mexico, and then the rest of my percentage is in Africa and in Middle East.
Oh, Lord.
You're
a Caucasian, dude. You're a Caucasian.
But I'm waiting for you to give me an example of how I'm white. If you can say how I'm white, I'll be like, okay, I'm white.
No, Brazilian, it's all made up.
My people is not Brazilian. Why would I be Brazilian? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Then they're saying Canadian and fucking United States like 3%. Like what? What the fuck? Like what?
What is it? You confused? You don't know what you can't read?
Get out of here. This is all bullshit. This is all bullshit right here.
So you don't even believe it now.
Your people is not real, bro.
I have DNA results I just posted that prove that my people are real.
You're not a real person. You're Caucasian, bro.
I don't see how.
Why are you getting so angry? Like, it's just the truth.
It's who you are, Dave.
No, it's just stupid how people on Clubhouse can.
You're trying to say that you're like that old, like native people that ran the lands with the Aztecs.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, those people. That's not who you are. You're not those people.
You said Mexicans don't exist.
They don't.
The definition of a Mexican was the blood of natives that were raised by
That's a fact. I don't know who this doctor is. He's exactly those people.
For me is what we learned. Like you go to medical school and you become intelligent because you memorize things. But that's not wisdom, because wisdom to me is truths that you can't learn unless you get it from within. And that's what wisdom is to me.
Yes. Oh, look, I see CJ has the exact same profile pic as you. Interesting. Oh. I've never seen that happen before. Okay. Yeah. Do you know each other?
I do know CJ. She's amazing. And I just clicked on her picture, and her picture is not dirty either.
Okay. I don't know. Oh, it's a Clubhouse thing. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. So yes, in terms of intelligence and intellect, I see intellect as something just the way you said, but then there's another thing that's vast intelligence that is consciousness itself, of which we're all a part, and we have access to this vast intelligence through our bodies, which are these vessels, not just to be in the here and now of our physical environments and our physical abilities, but that we are a conduit for information to flow through us from this vast intelligence. So I believe that's part of wisdom as well, is making room for that to come through. And sometimes it's simply a matter of us letting go of the ways we're blocking that flow of information. For instance, when we are tense and we're trying really hard to figure something out up in our intellect, in our headspace, because we think that's all there is my singular ability to figure something out that might be really challenging. And we start to get frustrated and constricted, and we might be shallow breathing. That's when we are, without meaning to, we are in an active practice of keeping out that information that vast intelligence can bring to us if we open, if we become receptive, if we stay curious. So that is an open, receptive stance that allows information to come through. A constricted environment keeps it out. And so this is another thing that I've come to know as an unspoken truth in our culture for how life really works and how to tap into our vast human capacity, is when we learn how to stay open and receptive and let information flow to us. We don't have to be stuck in the headspace figuring it out. It's been a long time for me of learning to turn off my brain power so that I could turn on or attune to this vast intelligence. And a lot of that comes into my mind, by the way. So the mind is still very powerful. Information can flow into the mind, but in many different ways we can receive information, not just through the mind, through the body, for instance, through our heart intelligence, through our emotions. There are many ways that we receive information. One of the ways that I tend to receive it personally is it'll be a whisper of a thought in my mind that I didn't create. It came from somewhere else, and it just landed through the landscape of my physical architecture in my mind. But it wasn't an intellectual exercise. I didn't craft that myself. It just popped in. So if anybody else has had experiences like that of receiving information that is from beyond individual you, share them. Okay, and Music AI, come on up and let's hear what you've got to say. Hi, good morning.
Hey,
Okay.
I put it in my
Hi.
Hey, good morning, Dr. Sharon. Great room. Really liked what you said. I feel like, when you say that, you're like speaking from the source, and it's like a transmission from it. So it's nice to hear that. And I would point you to my PTR, which I just updated. It's called the Trestle Board, and it's just like a little 10 bullet point thing. All the power that ever was or will be is here now. So it's just like a little little meditation to read.
Thank you. I love that. Where do I call you Music AI or something else?
You can call me Music.
Music? Okay. Where are you tuning in from today, Music?
I'm tuning in from Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago. Okay. Well, it's wonderful to have you here. And I think maybe, I'm not sure, but from your little pink icon, that maybe you're not a member of this house. If that's true, then please go ahead and join. I'm on every Saturday starting at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so I think that would be 10:30 for you, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's 11:30. You're in Central.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 2 hours
Yeah,
ahead of
so
you.
10:30. Yeah. So I'm on for up to 2 hours every Saturday morning. So I'm glad to have you here, and thank you for inviting listening to your recording. Love it. Do you have any other question, actually, that you'd like live coaching about?
How do you view coaching as a business? And how do you view it from a perspective of communication? Like, what in the coaching business, like, do you spend time coaching people on communication, or is it all communication?
I don't spend much time coaching anymore. Well, on a one-on-one basis, but I use that term is so diluted, isn't it? It means many different things to many people. So it was a simple way to sort of get people to understand that this is a Q&A in my room, because a lot of rooms don't run that way on Clubhouse. But this is really this space here, and this is my focus in my work, whether I'm doing public speaking, hosting a talk show, or writing. Those are primary things that I'm doing now, is to reach as many people as possible who want this information about how to tune in to our inner knowing, how to understand the way the world works in a way that really unlocks our creativity, our fulfillment, our joy, our freedom in life, and that often flies in the face of what we are taught, what we are conditioned to believe by the culture. And there's a big conversation going on where a lot of the concepts I talk about here are out in the open, and many people are talking about them, from Oprah Winfrey to Eckhart Tolle to Byron Katie. Many people, many voices, slightly different terms, talking about the same kinds of things that I do. And I think these are all beautiful voices to have out there. It's a matter of who calls out to you and aligns with what feels resonant from within. That's what I believe is, don't pay attention to a thing that I say other than what resonates within you as truth. And that's how to live our lives really in the most powerful way, from the inside out. So I don't know. I think that's more guidance than coaching in the vernacular, but the words aren't important. It's more that this is a Q&A. I'm here for you. And for anybody who has a question about any situation in their life where they're seeking clarity for a path forward, my ability is to help get you there, in touch with your inner knowing, so that you can find your own answers. I give plenty of ideas, but it might be my intuition, it might be my observation, but it's really only a matter of that bumping up against your inner knowing. That's the place from which all decisions can be made with assuredness, is when we're not mistakenly tuned into our fear or our conditioned existence, or on autopilot from not thinking about it too much, just going by habit. And now some of our habits in life are fabulous and they serve us well. So now I'm talking about the habituated existence that doesn't serve us. And we don't know unless we tune in fully to the present moment and to ourselves and to our inner knowing. And so that's what this live coaching in my context means. Is that helpful to you, music?
Yeah, it is. I recently was talking to a woman who has a coaching business, and I was asking her about her marketing, and that term coaching to me. I mean, I'm a student of hypnosis. I like hypnosis products, hypnosis communication, and so to me, I was trying to get her to understand that her coaching business is in a way a hypnosis business. My friend's father, Dr. Gruber, we got Jordan Gruber in the house, not the same Gruber,
Yes,
but
do.
it's called Pronunciation Workshop. And he has a very successful YouTube business, and he just says, say this word, coaching. Coaching has, and then he explains to you the technical components of a word and stress on words. So it's like, to me, he's putting people in a deep state of relaxation. So same thing with a musician. Their audience, you're trying to hypnotize your audience to get them to listen to your music. So my suggestion to musicians is create music that is deeply relaxing, and they'll stick around, and then you can feed them an advertisement. So I was trying to get your perspective or opinion on coaching, because to me, it's not a controversial word, but I think about a baseball team and the coach. The coach isn't always making great suggestions or pleasant suggestions. Sometimes they tell the batter to step into the pitch to get the walk. I mean, what kind of a coach is that? So I was just, just a joke. But
Okay. Well, I like all of the things you're saying are interesting, because hypnosis is getting into a highly focused state. That's the basis of hypnosis. When anybody gets into a highly focused state and they have a suggestible personality, then they can be programmed in a way, or information can be accessed, whatever the point of the hypnosis is. And so I would say the parallel here is that a focused state is really the same as being fully present to this moment. So the doorway into our inner knowing is full presence in this moment to ourselves, to what is. And then another step is moving in acceptance with what is. So if I'm dropping resistance, then I can really be open and receptive. But I would say the doorway in is full presence. And so it's similar to me in that the doorway in for hypnosis, it isn't magic like people think. It is pure presence. It's being focused. And a talented hypnotherapist helps bring somebody into that focused state. We all have the ability, though, to be for ourselves someone who lets the to-do list fall away, drops out of our intellect, trying to figure things out, and getting ourselves into a focused state. And there's a protocol for hypnosis, and people use different protocols for different types of hypnosis. And here, I find the easiest way, you may all have your own ways that you drop into pure presence. I find the easiest way that I know, and so I talk about it a lot here, is to just drop into the belly and focus on the breath for a few full, deep breaths. In fact, Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist leader who brought Buddhism to the West, he used to talk about the mindfulness bell, and he would ring a bell. I got to go on a retreat with him, and he would ring a bell every so often. You might be in the middle of eating or whatever you're doing, or walking, and everybody had to freeze frame. This was what he taught us. Freeze frame. Whatever you're doing.
Wait, flame!
Your fork stays in your hand. It doesn't come up to your mouth. You stop mid-stride, and you focus on your breath for 3 full deep breaths. And that was the mindfulness bell, to bring you into the present moment. So I find it a very quick and effective way of bringing us into that focused state. So that might be a tangent from what you were talking about music in terms of having a coaching business. But it may be that people are drawn to these different methods that people are using in their different businesses to bring people into a focused state. It's a relief, I think, to many people who, in our somewhat ADD infused multitasking culture, going back and forth looking at the phone all day long and being in the middle of a conversation or a work day, we now have a state of being in our culture that drives us by virtue of how tech tools have come up and just where we are right now in humanity, that we have a lot of divided attention. So it can feel incredibly soothing to our systems to give a reboot and come back into pure presence. Let everything else fall away, that multitasking, because I have so much I have to do and I'm tracking everything at once, and then do the opposite of that, just like one does in hypnosis. The